All right, hopefully you guys know the arithmetic formula and the geometric formula since you need to know it for tomorrow. So, what's the formula for an arithmetic sequence? Lovely. And how about geometric? Nice. All right, so arithmetic has a common difference. You're either adding or subtracting the same thing every time. And geometric has a common ratio. You're multiplying by the same thing every time. So this one says find the common difference on these two right here. So I'm either adding or subtracting right here. Good, Evan. I am adding 4, and then I'm adding 4. So my common difference for A is 4. And this one says find the common difference. What are we adding every time? Yep, so your common difference is 6x squared. Not just 6, right? Because you can't add 6 to an x squared term. You have to add 6x squared. Okay? All right, then we've got find the common ratio. In other words, what am I multiplying by every time? If it's alternating signs, that means I'm multiplying by a what? Negative. So my common ratio, 2 times what is negative 6? There you go. And then I'd multiply by negative 3 and get 18, and multiply by negative 3 and get 54, right? All right, this one has 2x squared, and then 8x to the 5th, and then 32x to the, I think that says 8. So 2 times what? Very good, cubed, because you add exponents every time when you're multiplying, right? So even though I'm timesing by 4, I'm adding that 3, because remember, x squared times x to the 3rd is x to the 5th. You guys remember that? Of course. All right, this next one, we've got x, and we're multiplying by something. So how do I get from 1 to the square root of 2? What would I be multiplying by? Yeah, I can multiply by the square root of 2. How do I get from x to x squared? Yeah, I multiply by x. So if I multiply by the square root of 2x, like for example, the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is 2, and x squared times x is x cubed. So this would be our common ratio. Okay. And this one looks a little tricky, little trickster right here. Let's see, what are we multiplying by to get to the next term? So I need to get from 2, to 2 root 6 plus 6. Harrison, that's great. How did you get root 6? So you just looked at the very first thing, and you're like, oh, I got to go to this, so I have to be multiplying by root 6. And it happens to work out because what's the square root of 6 times the square root of 6? Oh, good. So our common ratio is the square root of 6. And you could check that when you multiplied by root 6 to this, you get this. Okay? Neat. All right. A ball falls 27 inches. On each bounce, the ball rebounds to 1/3 of the distance it falls. How far did the ball fall in its 5th fall? 2 ways to do this. So I've got a ball first falls 27 inches. That's the first one. And then it rebounds 1/3 of the distance. So I'm actually multiplying by 1/3. That means that the next bounce is how high? What's 27 times a third? 9. All right, and then it rebounds 1/3 of that, which is what? 3. And then it rebounds 1/3 of that, which is 1. And then it rebounds 1/3 of that, which is 1/3. So on the 5th bounce, because that's the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, 5th bounce, it's going to just be 1/3 of an inch, because this one's in inches. The other way you could do this, because we are multiplying by a common ratio, we could use the geometric formula. This is a great way to do it. So I want to find the 5th one. The first one falls at 27 inches. We don't know, oh yeah, we do know our r, because our r is 1/3, right? That's what we're multiplying by every time. And I want to find the 5th one, so that's 5 minus 1. Okay, when you plug this in, you have 27, and this would be 1/3 to the 4th power. Make sure you do this piece first. You have to do 1/3 to the 4th power first, which is, what, 1/81? Okay, and that reduces to 1/3 inches. Okay, gives you the same thing. Either way, you do that. All right, when there's only one mean in between the two numbers. So you know how a lot of times we do these where we have like the number here and we're finding like two means in between, right? That's how we do most of those, and we found our R. What if there's only one in between? Well, then you can really just find these a little bit faster. If it's arithmetic, so if I just wanted to find one mean in between those and it was arithmetic, we add and divide by 2, okay? If it's geometric, I multiply them and take the square root. Okay, you want to kind of memorize that. So arithmetic, add them and divide by 2. Geometric, multiply and take the square root. And you got to check plus or minus. So, or sometimes it is positive or negative because we don't know. So for number 6, the positive geometric mean of two numbers is 8. We don't know the two numbers. The difference between the numbers is 30. Find the numbers. So we're writing two equations to represent those lovely things. Anyone think they can tell me how to write the positive geometric mean of two numbers is 8? Yep, this is the geometric mean. We're going to do the positive one, so I'm going to put a plus in front of that, and it is 8. Okay, the difference between the two numbers is 30. How do I just write an equation that says the difference between the two numbers is 30? Yeah, x minus y equals 30. Easy peasy. Now I just need to solve using algebra. So I'm going to square both sides right here because I want to undo the square root. So this now tells me that x times y equals 64. Okay, you can solve wherever you want and plug into the other one. It's just substitution. I'm going to solve for this x right here by adding the y to the other side. Now that I have this x by itself, I'm going to substitute it in to this x up here. So I have y plus 30 times y equals 64. Distribute the y. And I'm left with a quadratic. There are many ways to solve quadratics. The best way would probably be what in this case? Anybody have a guess? Oh yeah, I wouldn't do quadratic formula. You could. I would factor. See if it factors. So the first thing you got to do is set it equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 64. So we're looking for two things that multiply to 64 and add to 30. Yeah, I like that. 32 and 2. So I've got to do a positive 32 and a negative 2 in order to add to positive 30, which means my solutions are negative 32 and positive 2. That means that y is either one of those answers. That means there are two x answers. You can write them as coordinates if you want. So let's say I know that one of the y answers is negative 32. So I'm writing it as an x, y coordinate. If the answer is negative 32 for y, then what is the x? Yeah, negative 2. Okay, and if the y value is 2, so I could just come over here and plug in 2, what is the x? 32. So there's two sets of solutions. All right, let's try the last one. So we've got a negative geometric mean of two numbers is negative 10. How do we do a negative geometric mean? It's just the formula. Negative square root of x times y. Geometric mean is the square root of x times y. It says a negative. And we know that that answer is negative 10. All right, then it says the difference between the two numbers is 15. So we do x minus y equals 15. Do you guys need me to do this one? It's the same. What is one thing some people struggle with, this negative sign? Can we just get rid of these? Yeah, if you multiply both sides by negative, or if you square the entire thing, you're going to get xy equals 100. And then you just solve the same way. It does factor. There are two sets of answers. Okay, any questions? Okay.